It's 12:07 on Talk Radio 790 KABC. You're listening to The John Phillips Show. Johnny is back in this chair on Tuesday, because Monday's a holiday. It's Randy Wang here broadcasting live from the Morongo Casino Resort and Spa Living Room Studio. The phone number to join us is 800-222-KABC. Write it down. Put it in your phone under KABC, because we like you to call often and participate in the show, including in just a few minutes. And, of course, you can email us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. That's johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. Your questions, your comments, your requests for drops. I'll send you an MP3 of any drop that you want.
If the cashier is dummy.
That is my thank you to being a loyal listener of this show. And if you want to request a Jimmy Buffett song, you can do that. Otherwise, I'll just play them randomly. It is Jimmy Buffett Friday. And it is Labor Day kickoff day, which means I will be checking my traffic every 10 minutes to see how bad it's going to be trying to get from Culver City back to the San Fernando Valley on Getaway Day. But then the weekend is here. It's going to be beautiful. It's actually going to be nice and cool in Southern California. It's going to be even better where I'm going. And it's a great time to be experiencing the magic that is Southern California and Los Angeles. But this, of course, is talk radio, so there are some problems we got to talk about. Now, the city of Los Angeles and the county of Los Angeles and Southern California as a whole, but specifically Los Angeles, has been dealing with a housing crisis for a long, long time. And the housing crisis is on two fronts. There's just not enough of it, so everything is really, really expensive, which is fantastic if you're a homeowner and you bought it the right time. But if you're not, and you're young and you don't have parents that can give you a down payment, you might never be a homeowner. Then, of course, is the other end of the housing crisis, which you hear about oh so often on the John Phillips Show, which is the homelessness crisis.
If you're feeling down, if you're feeling blue, let's get help for you.
And that is where Mayor Mother Goose has been putting 100% of her effort since she became mayor and took over for this guy.
We often lead from the front, but it is time for us to lead from the back.
There's a reason I'm mentioning all of these dangling things.
I was trying to find an excuse for that. I found that today. And homelessness has been a huge issue here for years and years and years. And we've tried quite a few different novel concepts, including raising our taxes citywide and countywide to build a bunch of bridge housing, to build shelters, to build all these facilities. That didn't really pan out. The numbers went up. And we just passed Measure ULA, which is supposed to raise $900 million a year. It's going to raise a lot less than that for a real estate transaction tax on properties over $5 million. And that's going to build a whole bunch of housing. Then you've got Karen Bass's Inside Safe program.
It's not a namsy-pamsy thing.
Where we're spending a whole bunch of money to rent out motels and move the homeless into motels. And a few months in, Karen Bass realized that program is so expensive that we're just going to go up and buy some motels and turn them into straight up Los Angeles slums.
Oh, you're so optimistic.
I mean, hey, it's an idea, and there I'm sure a lot of rundown motels. Problem is, now when the damage is done, if we're the owner, we're liable for all that, so that's fun. But what do you know? In 2024, you'll be voting on a brand new idea to solve the housing crisis, to solve the homelessness crisis. You may have heard of it. You may have not. But it already has collected enough signatures and will be on the ballot in March. Would you vote to require hotels in Los Angeles that have vacant rooms to give those vacant rooms away to the homeless after 3 p.m. every day? Because that is actually on the ballot this year. It's starting to get some attention, including some negative attention from some of the hotels that think this might destroy tourism as we know it here in Southern California. For more, here's ABC7. Eyewitness News. It's Friday. Give me a Marvin Zindler.
Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News.
That's a drop you can email about at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and I'll send it to you. Here we go.
A new political ad is out attacking a proposal to house the homeless in Los Angeles hotels. It's also going after the union behind the plan.
LA voters will have the final say, but not until March. Eyewitness News reporter Rob Hayes has more on the ad and who's behind it.
I bet the Beverly Hills Hotel loves this idea.
Los Angeles hotels. Many of them.
The Standard, the Biltmore. How about the Bonaventure? Imagine all of the things you'll see when you're in those glass elevators.
Los Angeles hotels. Many of them are top shelf with top dollar price tags and top of the line views. But could this soon be a common hotel view for visitors?
If it sounds silly in the commercial, well, it's even sillier and more dangerous in real life.
Michael Saltzman is the executive director of the Center for Union Facts, a Washington, D.C. based nonprofit critical of union leadership.
That's right. This is the organization that has put out a commercial with just awful production values, almost comically bad, but it shows what it would look like if you're on vacation in L.A. and you're staying at a hotel and there's a bum in your room.
It's also the group funding this television ad, blasting a Los Angeles City ballot measure up for a vote next year.
It would be funny if it wasn't so scary.
The Los Angeles Responsible Hotel Ordinance wants to require all hotels and motels within the city limits to house the homeless in all rooms that are not booked.
Can you imagine the last-minute fire sale deals that the hotels would have to put out to make sure they don't have to give any of these rooms away? I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the app Hotel Tonight. I used it once when I went to New York, and it's pretty great. So any of the unsold rooms tonight, they go on Hotel Tonight for a massive discount. But, massive discount meaning like 20% off, 30% off. If you're lucky, 50% off. But believe you me, if this law passes and you want a staycation, here what might be the best part about this if this passes. And this is L.A., and it very well could pass. But you could probably stay at some of the fanciest hotels for 99% off. They'll practically give the rooms away because the last thing any of these hotels want to do is give the rooms to the city to house the homeless.
The Los Angeles Responsible Hotel Ordinance wants to require all hotels and motels within the city limits to house the homeless in all rooms that are not booked.
When you turn hotels over to basically become homeless shelters, that you have a lot of dangerous behavior that goes on, and hotel workers, housekeepers should not be subject to that. And so candidly, I think it's shameless that
Would like a hotel like the Standard have to add to their room service needle delivery?
the union of all people would be behind this.
The ballot measure is the work of Unite Here Local 11, the union that represents L.A. hotel workers.
Wait a second, that's weird. Why is the hotel worker union supporting a bill that would harm hotel workers? It's a little strange. Unless they figured out the same thing that I figured out, and that these rooms will be dirt cheap and they'll be at full occupancy every night, which is good for union membership. I can see a bright side to this bill.
Ballot measure is...
How would you like to go for a fancy hotel stay every single weekend? Because at $3.59, the prices go down to $1.
Ballot measure is the work of Unite Here.
Although that might invite the other riffraff. We saw what happened at $4 movie day.
Ballot measure is the work of Unite Here Local 11, the union that represents L.A. hotel workers. Not surprisingly, it is not happy with that TV ad.
We're appalled, actually. They dehumanize, people who don't have homes, and they mock them in the video.
L.A. already has experienced housing the homeless in hotels. Project Roomkey, instituted during the pandemic, is credited with housing more than 10,000 individuals in 4,000 rooms at 37 hotels throughout the city and L.A. County.
And you remember when that was beginning, there was tape of then City Councilman Mike Bonin talking about hoping that the Ritz-Carlton could almost go out of business so he could buy it for a song and turn it into a shelter. How about that J.W. Marriott?
LA already has experienced housing the homeless in hotels. Project Roomkey, instituted during the pandemic, is credited with housing more than 10,000 individuals in 4,000 rooms at 37 hotels throughout the city and LA County.
Rents have gone out of control. We want the hotels to take responsibility for that. Our initiative is part of that, but also paying a wage that allows people to live in Los Angeles is as much of their responsibility as anything else.
But why is that the hotel's responsibility? I'm a little confused.
Rents have gone out of control. We want the hotels to take responsibility for that.
The hotels have nothing to do with the price of rent. I mean, yes, it's a dwelling, but it's a temporary dwelling reserved for tourists and people coming for conventions and business travelers and, people like that. People that want to go see Harry Potter at Universal Studios.
Rents have gone out of control. We want the hotels to take responsibility for that.
The hotels have nothing to do with the skyrocketing rents.
Our initiative is part of that, but also paying a wage that allows people to live in Los Angeles is as much of their responsibility as anything else.
But also grabbing the headlines is the Mayfair Hotel, a luxury inn before it became a Project Roomkey location. And afterward, the city reportedly paying the owners more than $11 million for damage caused by the homeless residents.
And that is why the Inside Safe program is now buying the hotels outright instead of just master leasing, because we're responsible for all that damage. And this happened in San Francisco, and it happened here. That's a lot of money we got to pay when these people start fires and do other things inside the rooms. And imagine that happening at a fancy schmancy downtown L.A. hotel.
Meanwhile, the Center for Union Facts says more ads are on the way. Angelenos will vote on the ballot measure March of next year.
And this is where I would like to mention is sales. Let's get those ads on this radio station, because this station has a lot of Los Angeles voters. But you know what? This is still pretty early. We're a few months away from the March primary, and there's so many different things that people are concerned about with the March primary. So I don't even think any polling has been done on this issue, which is where you come in, because we're going to do a KABC poll right now. Obviously, the city of L.A. is in a housing crisis and a massive homelessness crisis. In the city of L.A. alone, there are 47,000 people sleeping on the street. So there is a bill that you will get to vote on. Don't have a name for it yet, but it is the Responsible Hotel Homeless Housing Bill. Would you vote to require hotels to give their vacant rooms to the homeless on a nightly basis? 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. This is a real bill. It will be on your ballot in March if you live in the city of Los Angeles. How are you going to vote on it? 800-222-KABC. 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Ray in Hermosa. Ray, you're on the John Phillips Show. It's Randy here. Hello.
Yeah, hi. I was wondering if part of the bill, and it would make perfect sense, would they be able to valet park their grocery carts for free?
That is something I had not thought of.
They just cannot keep those things on the streets. That just wouldn't be right. They should be able to have free valet for those.
Or would they have to have the bellhop carry it up to the room?
Well, that could work too.
There you go.
But, I don't know. Sometimes they're kind of big and they don't fit in the elevators. When you see how stuffed they are,
All right, I'm going with the first idea. We're gonna have a whole valet section, and then you're gonna have some kind of way to identify which shopping cart is yours.
Exactly. Do people realize that the great thing about hotels is they bring tourism and business dollars to our communities, our restaurants, our shops. People come out here to do business. I mean, they generate a lot of revenue, not just the hotel room, but all the businesses around those hotels.
I understand that, and you understand that, but we have a political environment here that is so laser focused on one issue. It's the only thing that matters, and so we're going to destroy everything else to solve that one issue. Thanks so much for the call, Ray. Appreciate it. His phone started crapping out. All right, here we go. The phones are exploding. It's time for the KABC poll. In March, in the city of L.A., you'll be voting on a proposition to require hotels to give away their vacant rooms on a nightly basis to the homeless. How are you voting? It's Jimmy Buffett Friday on the John Phillips Show. Rocco emailed us at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com. He wanted to hear Jolly Mon sing. I also got an email from Ian during the break at johnnydon'tlikeshow@gmail.com, and he wanted an MP3 of
If the Cashier is Dummy.
And
It's Woo Wednesday.
And I am happy to oblige because, I've got the MP3s. The phone number is 800-222-KABC. It's time for a KABC poll. There is a ballot measure in March in the city of Los Angeles that would require hotels to offer any of their vacant rooms on a nightly basis to house the homeless. How will you be voting on this? 800-222-KABC, 1-800-222-5222. Let's start with Steven in Santa Monica. Steven, you're on the John Phillips Show.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey, John, how are you? Dude, I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or a Democrat. I mean, the insanity, this has trickled down. This is just indicative, this hotel thing. Like, well, who is the government to tell private hotels what they can do? I mean, Barbara Ferrer was on the news yesterday with a mask on, telling everybody, put your mask back on. Nobody's dying. We got smash and grabs all over the city. Gascon murdered 3 girls the other day. 3 little girls were murdered because of this guy Gascon. What is it going to take for people to just go, the insanity? It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat. Look at the criminality that is happening in the city. I've been here 41 years. I've never seen anything like it. I'll tell you what, if it was my little girl that was killed by that gangbanger that Gascon let out, I'll tell you what, I'd be down in his office right now, and I would be in jail. I would be done. This town is insanity. It's a left-wing takeover. I don't know what it's going to take for people to wake the frick up, but it's scary. It's really scary times, my friend. Very scary times.
So I'm going to put you down as a no for voting on this measure.
No.
Thanks so much for the call, Stephen. Appreciate it. Now, that guy blasted away. 800-222-KABC. How about Jack in Banning? Jack, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy, this is a hard no. This is such a cluster F. I mean, I have so many questions. First of all, at a certain time of day, all the hotels and motels in L.A. are supposed to bombard the phone lines and tell somebody on the other end that all of these rooms are available. That's not going to happen. Secondly, once you get these people in a room, who's to say that they're going to ever get out of the room? I mean, this has been so poorly thought out. It is just not going to happen. No, no, no.
You make some fantastic points. Thanks so much for the call, Jack. Appreciate it. Let's do one more before the news break here. How about Jeff in Glendale? Jeff, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hello, Randy.
Hello, Jeff.
I'm a hard no on this, and my question is this. What is preventing these hotel owners from all bonding together and just saying no to the government? I mean, this is the most anti-American, anti-capitalist thing ever. And I'm sorry, they own a hotel. They should be able to make money doing it and not have to give away their rooms to the homeless people. This is craziness.
It absolutely is. Jeff, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. For a second there, when he went, hello, Randy, it made me think I was listening to the old Tom Leykis show. That made me happy. All right, we got a whole bunch of calls on hold. We're taking this thing all the way to the top of the hour and maybe beyond that. It's Friday. This is a fun one. The city of L.A. is going to have a measure on the ballot this March. Would you vote to require hotels to give away their vacant rooms every night to house the homeless? 800-222-KABC. It's a little 12:30 here on the John Phillips Show. Talk Radio 790 KABC. It is Jimmy Buffett Friday, and aside to Jimmy Buffett Friday, apparently they just opened a Margaritaville hotel in the Gaslamp in San Diego. That sounds like a fun time. San Diego is such a fun city. I want to go down there sometime. 800-222-KABC is the phone number, 1-800-222-5222. It's a KABC poll. There is a measure on the March ballot in the city of Los Angeles that if you vote yes would require hotels to offer their vacant rooms to the homeless every single night. How would you vote? 800-222-KABC. Let's start with Dennis in Fontana. Dennis, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Absolutely, without question, they should have a room overnight. But only if they get a new car the next morning. I don't want a car that's used because it may not have the right tag. A couple of food vouchers or a certificate for Morton's, Cheesecake Factory, Disneyland passes. We have to have somewhere where they can go the next morning when checkout time comes around with transportation and money. Well, they need money too, so we got to give them at least $400 or $500 for the day. And with all of that, I'm all for it.
There we go. You know, all of those car dealers have vacant cars every single night. They should be giving those away to the homeless.
Only if they're new.
Morton's probably has a steak or two that they don't sell at the end of the night. They should be cooking those up for the homeless. Thanks so much for the call, Dennis. Appreciate it. I love this audience. You guys are great. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. How about Rex? Rex, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hello, Randy. You do a wonderful job. Only a person with a single-digit IQ would think this is a good idea. That said, let me add that last night in Santa Monica, my truck was stolen in front of my house.
Oh, my.
I went to fill out a police report this morning at the Santa Monica police station. Their front door was smashed out.
Oh, God. What happened to Santa Monica? That was supposed to be the good part of town.
I moved here 43 years ago. It was lovely. Now we have homeless people all over the place. They leave their trash everywhere. They leave their urine bottles. They crap in the alley. And the city just goes, oh, let's give it more money.
Now let's put them in the hotels. If the city of L.A. does this, Santa Monica is going to be right behind him. Rex, I'm so sorry that happened to you, but thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Guy's getting his truck stolen. You can't stand for that. So far, I think we have 99% of the audience voting no and one sarcastic yes. 800-222-KABC. How about Jimmy? Jimmy, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Randy, great show. I'm so glad you let that guy a couple of calls ago blast away. I mean, that felt good for me. I just want to say that Harbor Ferrer is the epitome of a kook. I mean, you know, if you wear a mask now, that's the equivalent of a tinfoil hat. So that's obviously a sign of, you know, mental illness. So you just should, you know, give a friendly reminder anybody comes up to you doing that COVID dance to, you know, just buzz off, go get some help. But obviously, you know, I gotta say, this is a voter's fault because, you know, I live in L.A. down in the Fairfax area, and I was blown away that they went for more in the last election. Like, they doubled down and they hired more kooks, and the city hall got crazier, and the city got crazier. They hired Bass instead of Caruso, which was the obvious choice to clean up the city. So it's a voter's fault as far as I'm concerned, and the apathy of your average LA resident.
Jimmy, I wonder, based on the most recent voting trends, do you think this proposal has a chance of passing in the city of LA?
Oh, completely. For sure. 100% it has a chance.
I agree with you. Thanks so much for the call, Jimmy. Appreciate it. We're going to call it Blast Away Friday, everybody. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. This is the place where people in Southern California can come and blast away and be heard. We take your calls. Other stations don't do that. I don't know why, but we do it. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Angela, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello. Angela. No, Angela. It's so sad. Please call us back. Maybe we were on mute. 800-222-KBC is the phone number. Let me give you some advice. If you're going to put us on mute while you're on hold, and thank you so much for holding, make sure you know how to hit the unmute button. I've done that myself. Jamie, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hi, John. How are you?
Doing great.
I'm sorry, Randy.
Same thing.
Hey, I definitely would not vote on this, but even if it did pass, wouldn't it be illegal against the Fourth Amendment right of illegal search and seizure? They can't search your bank accounts, your business records. If they tried to come in and ask me for my business records of open, I would ask for the search warrant and the penal code that I violated in order for them to get that search warrant.
I'd expect the hotel manager to call the city and say, sorry, fully booked tonight. We're having such an incredible record month. I got nothing for you.
Exactly. There would be no way that I would give that type of information to the city, no matter what type of law they passed, without a penal code and a warrant.
That might be what happens. Thanks so much for the call, Jamie. Appreciate it. I'm telling you, for the Marriott Bonvoy people and the Hilton Honors Rewards people, you should be getting like a flash sale email every day at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll sell you any room for $4. Just please, we can't have any vacancies or it's all going to hell. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Ian. Ian, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing great.
So I'm a sarcastic yes, because I've been wanting to stay at the Ritz and the Sheraton, so I'm going to become homeless for the day and get a free room. That's my plan.
That is fantastic. How are they going? They can't ask you to prove that you're not homeless.
Absolutely. I will dress the part. I will be homeless. I will get a free room. Anybody want to join in? It's free.
There we go.
Stupid. It's so incredibly stupid. I've been living out here for years. I own a small gym. That would be like, hey, no one's using my shower. Maybe I got to let some homeless people use my shower. Every gym should be calling in and seeing if they have some shower usage left.
Ian, you might be giving them ideas.
Oh, I'm sure I am. I love them. I want them to come up with even more dumb laws, because the people in this city, I say this all the time to people in my own business, you get what you vote for, and you're voting for this. So, but I'm going to get a free room, so I'm okay, I guess.
There we go. Thanks so much for the call, Ian. Appreciate it. I think I'd try to pull the same scam if I wanted to go to a Laker game. JW Marriott, I mean, just look at me. Look at my tattered clothes. Obviously, I'm homeless. Can I get the penthouse tonight? 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Kevin. Kevin, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, I know I shouldn't be giving ideas out either, but this is going down a slippery slope. Like, what happens when they start checking people's residences to see how many open bedrooms they have? They're going to start putting people in those rooms, too?
You're not going to be able to have a guest room in the city of Los Angeles anymore. You're going to need to have a guest inside your room every single night.
Exactly.
So,
and my wife was just telling me how she wanted to go get the kids tickets to go to Disneyland, so I guess we can go down there and get freebies, too.
There we go.
The caller was saying, giving out free tickets to everything and $500. I'm like, yeah, well, let's go down there for the night and we'll get some free tickets.
Now, luckily for Disneyland, they're in Orange County. They're in the city of Anaheim. Anaheim would never do this. But can you imagine Universal Studios, which is in the city of Los Angeles, they're not at full capacity, so they've got to give out some free tickets to the homeless.
Exactly.
There we go. Thanks for the call, Kevin. Appreciate it. They got to go front of the line to Harry Potter. This is a thing we are actually voting on in March. Would you vote to require hotels to give away their vacant rooms to the homeless in the city of Los Angeles? 800-222-KABC. The caller marathon continues. It's Randy Wang here in for John Phillips. Let's go to John in Santa Clarita. John, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hi. Thanks for taking my call. You know, I was thinking the city likes to get into other people's money. So how can we get something going where we say we don't pay taxes for 6 months, state, and then the next 6 months, no federal tax? How do we get it going? Because I ask these people that are writing things up and vote here, sign here, do you support? How do we do that?
Yeah, I feel like the feds would come after us for that one, but it's an interesting idea. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC. Jim in Riverside. Jim, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hi, Randy. Thanks for taking my call. I want to
pose something. Ian brought up an interesting point, but when he goes and gets his free room, there might be a few homeless people move into his house while he's enjoying that hotel room. But the other thing is, would anybody want to stay in one of those Marriott or Hilton rooms after the homeless guy moved in for a week?
Well, no, and then the place would be completely empty, and then all of the rooms would be homeless housing.
Well, right. So I wouldn't want to stay in that room after that happened. So good luck renting that room out to a paying guest after that.
I mean, maybe during the Halloween season, you can book some like ghost tours, because that's going to be a scary scene after a couple months.
I'd say a couple of weeks.
There we go, Jim. Thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Have a great Labor Day. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. The calls are coming in faster than Tricia can answer them. Actually, she's answering them very quickly. So let's go to Nick in La Cañada. Nick, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy. Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, absolutely stupid idea. The thing that I immediately wonder about is how did they garner enough signatures to get something this idiotic on the ballot? And it really speaks to an confidence pool in most of these cities. I mean, I don't know if it's an ignorance level or an apathy level, but they're certainly unequipped to make intelligent, social decisions.
Well, from what I'm understanding, the bill was authored, and you can imagine got all of the signatures from hotel workers, because the Hotel Workers Union, Unite Here Local 11, was the one that made this thing something that people could sign and got it on the ballot. So they told their membership, you got to sign this proposition.
Yeah, it's scary. I mean, you look at cities like Chicago with the mayoral election there, and where they repudiated the former mayor, and yet they went further left with even crazier ideas. And it really speaks to the voting pool. And, I wouldn't be surprised if something this horrible actually passed, and it would be devastating to the hotel.
It definitely could pass. We have passed crazier things here in L.A. Nick, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to John in Orange County. John, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy. I'm a big guest from here in Orange County. Don't ask me how I'm going to pull that off. You might get indicted. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take one of those cheap rooms that you're talking about and Airbnb out the house, make a little extra money on the side, and my wife and I can stay at the Ritz. So it's win-win-win.
There you go. That is a forward-thinking man right there. We can sit in a hotel every single night because they're going to be dirt cheap. We've got a deal with our favorite hotel, and then we Airbnb out the house. It's like what I'm going to do in my neighborhood when the Olympics come.
Nobody loses.
There we go. John, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. See, we don't just talk about the problems here. We talk about the solutions, and just as importantly, we figure out how we can profit off of this as well. 800-222-KABC is the phone number. Let's go to Mike in Santa Clarita. Mike, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Randy, my man, the king of these sound bites. Hey, I've got one answer, and I believe you have the sound bite, which is I forget her name, but I think the president of the teachers union that said, hell no, got to play it. That's my answer.
Wait a second. I don't have that one on the hot board because we rarely use it, but I bet I have it saved. Where is it? Hell no. I'm going to find it during the next break.
That's all I got to say.
I love it. Thank you so much for the call, Mike. Appreciate it. I've done hell no. Maybe I put it in a song. Oh, I know where it is. Cecily Myart Cruz and AC/DC. That's where it is. And I haven't saved it. I'll find it. Just give me a little time. It's going to happen. I know I did it, but I need to make sure I save it in the right folder. He actually stumped me on a drop that I didn't have ready to go, and I feel horrible about that. But don't you worry. We'll get that solved. Let's go to Mike in Mar Vista. Mike, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hi. Great show. Listen to it every day. It's the craziest idea. but I think it's leading to our own homes. If they can do it with the hotels, they can mandate that we rent out an extra room in our house.
You know what I would do right now, this weekend, get your butt down to Home Depot and figure out how to install a deadbolt on your bedroom door.
Yeah, it's insane, and it just is leading to the wrong ending. It's because you can't slap me 3 or 4 times. Slap me once, but you know the rest of the story.
Oh, yeah. Well, Mike, thanks so much for the call. Appreciate it. Here's a thought. If they were able to get this on the ballot, they got enough signatures. What if we start collecting signatures for a counterproposal? There is a lot of office space that the city of Los Angeles operates in at City Hall in downtown L.A. You've got the city council chambers. You've got every councilman has an office. What if we say every single night they have to turn those into homeless shelters? And by the way, I did find it because I'm multitasking here. Mike in Santa Clarita, this one's for you.
Hell no!
Now let me make sure
Hell no!
that I save that because apparently I did not have Cecily Hell No ready to go. And that is just, I got to make sure I have all the drops when people request them. 800-222-KABC. Let's go to Rob. Rob, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy, good to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I work in the hotel industry. I'm in a downtown hotel, major hotel.
And how do you feel about this bill?
Well, I think it's horrible. I mean, it's going to affect tourism. I mean, guests are not going to want to pay the money that they pay, the rate per night in a nice hotel, and have to deal with this, as well as the workers too. And I don't know how that union got all the signatures on the ballot. I know you were explaining that they probably had their own members do it, but it's just ridiculous. I mean, as it is, we have to deal with homeless every day. When they get into the hotel, we have to usher them out. And sometimes they steal things. It's just, I don't know. I mean, I know there are some needy people, but this is not the solution.
I don't think it is, but unfortunately, there's a chance it could pass because this is the city of L.A.
Exactly. Speaking of sound bites, that nice caller you had from Santa Monica, you should have played Three's Company's tune while he was on.
There we go. Thanks so much for the call, Rob. Appreciate it. That's something I don't have on the hot bar, but maybe I should. Actually, I didn't get the reference, but I didn't want to tell him that. 800-222-KABC. Nico in La Habra. Nico, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy. How you doing?
Doing great.
So I'll tell you what. I would sign that petition as a hard yes, as long as Karen Bass and the rest of the council members offer their house first.
Yes, let's offer up the Getty House, a huge place where the mayor gets to reside while they're serving the city of Los Angeles. We could probably house 10 families in there.
Exactly. So if you can fill those up first, I'll sign that.
There we go. Time for a counterproposal. Nico, thanks so much for the call. We got to get something on the ballot. This is California direct democracy. If we get enough signatures, we can get anything on the ballot, which is how this happened. Let's go to Andrew in Southgate. Andrew, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy. Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I would be okay with this, but it needs tweaking a little bit. Instead of opening up rooms in the land hotels, there's a bunch of cruise ships that have got to have some empty rooms. Put them on the cruise ships, set sail at, 7, 8 o'clock in the evening, 3-hour tour, have them come back, do the whole thing over again the next day.
Does the cruise ship have to come back?
Well, it'll come back a little lighter.
There's an idea. Thanks so much for the call, Andrew. I've heard the cruise ship idea before. And by the way, there are decommissioned cruise ships that are just sitting out on the harbors that could be turned into like a floating hospital. That's an actual decent idea and decent solution. And no, I'm not just supporting it because it would get them off of our land. but, added benefit. All right, let's keep going. Lee in Anaheim. Lee, you're on the John Phillips Show. Hello.
Hey, Randy, how you doing?
Doing great.
I've got a pop quiz for you. Who takes more vacations, Joe Biden or John Phillips?
Oh, I would say John, because I think Grampy Joe only gets 2 weeks, and John's still making up from all the time he couldn't take off during COVID.
Oh, my gosh. Okay, well, that's a good deal. Good deal. Hey, absolutely, I would vote no. And actually, my wife and I drove from Santa Barbara back to Orange County yesterday, and we stopped in Los Angeles. Big mistake. The place is a dump. And I told her from now on, we're either flying over, driving around, boating around. We ain't going back there.
Yeah, if you can get
we got off the freeway. Got off the freeway to get gas, and it's just unbelievable what a dump it is.
We got to get a direct flight from John Wayne to Santa Barbara Airport. That would be fantastic.
I think you can actually do that, and I'll pay for it because I'm not going back there. Unbelievable.
I get you. Thanks so much for the call, Lee. Appreciate it. All right, we still got 2 more hours to go, and since the phones have been exploding, stay on hold. We're going to keep going with our KABC poll. Would you vote to require hotels to house the homeless with their empty rooms? 800-222-KABC. More of your phone calls next on The John Phillips Show. It's Randy Wang here on KABC.
Hell no!